Hey, I'm the Keyforge Corner, and welcome to another Age of Ascension showcase, I guess is what you can call this. Now, today we're talking about Binding Irons, as you can tell by the video name. Now, Binding Irons is a quite interesting card because it offers a different mechanic. Now, the mechanic of chains has always been there, right? It's been used to balance cards which are too powerful, but now with Binding Irons it's different because you are not the one gaining chains. When you play Binding Irons, your opponent gains free chains. Pretty self-explanatory, so it's there to slow down your opponent. Now, what I feel about Binding Irons is that right now it's still a bit of in its infancy, because it's the only card that does this. So the only real way that it's going to shine in Age of Ascension is if you have a deck that has multiple copies of it. Because then, for example, you can call it this turn and play 2 Binding Irons, and your opponent suddenly has 6 chains, which are going to really slow him down, while you can start building momentum since you are not restricted like this. Now, why I feel like right now Binding Irons is still in its infancy, it's because it's the only card that does this. So in the future, I'm sure there will be more cards which will be like Reap, give your opponent 1 chain, or a skirmish creature that says Fight, give your opponent a chain. Similar to the new Mars upgrade, which pretty much buffs your creature up tremendously, gives it Skirmish, but when you fight with this creature, you gain a chain. Instead of that, a skirmisher could easily just have the effect that after he fights, your opponent gets a chain. And I feel like that's a quite cool mechanic. It's comparable to Mind Barb, for example. However, this is kind of like a multi-turn Mind Barb in a way. So I do feel like this is a really nice thing to have. And if you find a deck with multiple Binding Irons somewhere, I suggest that you check out the other families and see if it's worth anything, because the Binding Irons themselves are gonna do quite a bit of a job. But as I said, the card itself right now is only really as good as the number of its copies in your deck. Otherwise, without any other cards that can put on chains, it's like a random thing. And you know how card games are. You like to have a theme. You like to have something which connects the deck together. In Keyforge, it's much more difficult to have this happen because everything's random. However, it is very possible to just buy a deck which has multiple Binding Irons, or in the future, after Age of Ascension, buy a deck which just has a lot of cards that put chains on your opponent's deck. And I feel that this might be a really cool thing to do, personally, you know? Anyway, so I'm the Keyforge Corner. Hope you keep on trying those Age of Ascension decks. I do have to say, I myself enjoy them. I wouldn't say they're as good as Call of the Archons, but I will touch upon this in a different video in the future. For now, just enjoy what we have, and I will see you some other time. Keep on forging those keys.